This is Yarly G, and you're now listening to WWSU 106.9 FM. Fairborn, Dayton, Dayton's right choice. Yeah.
Welcome back to the Nutter Center. I thought he was a little crazy at the time for doing that, but it worked out. But
is I'm highly competitive. If we're playing checkers, Parker, I want to beat you. Simple as that.
This idea of arriving doesn't exist. We're always becoming.
Do you remember the day that Mark was like, yes, I remember. Said I MF'd you all the way back to the dugout.
And the Raiders take it. They go undefeated in Horizon League play this season. They are the Horizon League regular season champions.
This is The Perspective with Parker Testa on WWSU 106.9.
Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to The Perspective right here on WWSU 106.9 FM. Happy Friday, happy Friday, happy Friday. It's a great day today here at WWSU. We got this show, which is always great. Just kidding. Not always. I have just realized that our radio feed on YouTube was not going through. So you can hear us just now. So I apologize for the last 10 minutes of content that you guys missed. But I will clip together the audio from the first 10 minutes. So you guys on YouTube should hear us now. But
welcome.
So welcome. We've talked.
Well, all you missed was we're talking a lot of baseball, and I'm surprised that I'm on the show with the heavy, A-tier guests that Parker brings on. And this show is a lot like the Indiana Pacers. We think we're good, and everyone else knows that we're average.
Yeah, no kidding. So I will clip together that first, 5-10 minutes of audio and put it on over the YouTube feed and edit that. But so welcome to our YouTube listeners. So wild card games. Let's touch on this Tuesday night game because we both were thrilled that the Yankees lost. Yeah. Thrilled.
And I think the headline of the Boston Globe sums it up perfectly. Coltrane derailed.
Yeah, no kidding. Yeah. No kidding at all. You're paying a guy $320-something million to go 2 innings.
To pitch like that?
Yeah.
And I mean, there's so many I don't mean to put all Yankees fans in the same boat, but every fan base has obnoxious fans. But Yankee fans, a lot of people don't like Yankee fans. But I saw Yankees fans on Twitter like, trade Cole for a bag of chips. Garrett Cole was a bust. Garrett Cole was washed. Like, okay, he had a bad game. And I hate the Yankees. And Garrett Cole in his career has pitched for a Pirates team that I despise, a Houston team that cheated to win a title, and the Yankees. So I really shouldn't like Garrett Cole. I like watching him pitch, but I have not liked any part of his career. Garrett Cole is one heck of a pitcher.
Yeah.
And yes, he had a bad night, and yes, it looks bad on that stage.
Yeah.
But come March 31st or whenever the season starts next year, does March even have 31 days? I might have just totally.
I think it does.
I don't know. Come late March, early April on opening day 2022, you're going to remember why you're paying Garrett Cole the big bucks. He will be just fine.
March does have 31 days. Okay. Now that I think about it, yes.
Cole,
you're correct.
Garrett Cole will be just fine.
Yeah.
It was one bad game. It does not mean his career is over. Yes, Yankees wish he pitched better. And yes, I expected him to pitch better. But in 4 months, you'll forget about this game because Garrett Cole will be back to being one of the 5 best pitchers in the league.
Well, it's one of those deals where I think you compare him to kind of like a Clayton Kershaw type, to where before they won the World Series, he was revered as the guy that can't get it done in big moments, the guy that pitches bad in the big moments. Right. And Kershaw's still that great. He's not playing right now, but he's still that great pitcher, even at 30-something years old.
Garrett Cole's going to make the Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
Garrett Cole had one bad wild card game for a Pirates team that shouldn't have made the playoffs. And he had one bad wild card game with the New York Yankees, but it looks bad because it was in Fenway against the Red Sox. Other than that, his time in Houston and even his first 2 years with the New York Yankees, Parker, Garrett Cole has been really good in the postseason.
Yeah.
In case you forgot, last year when the Yankees had their backs against the wall against the Tampa Bay Rays, Garrett Cole, I believe, threw 7 1/3, 1 run allowed, and like 12 strikeouts. Garrett Cole is a really good pitcher, and I despise the Yankees, and I have no fanhood for Garrett Cole whatsoever. But just as a baseball fan and somebody that knows a little bit about the sport, Garrett Cole's about as good as it gets. There might be like 2 guys in the league right now that I'd rather have as my ace over Garrett Cole. Jacob deGrom, and I don't know, maybe Garrett Cole might be number 2. But, like, definitely deGrom. I think deGrom's the best pitcher in the sport.
He is.
And then, I don't know. Sale can't stay healthy. I can't think of a guy that I'd put right there next to Cole. I think the Yankees have a top 3 pitcher in baseball, and they're still finding a way to complain about it.
Yankees fans will complain about anything they want to. So I'm going to... But what a game it was on Tuesday night. Great game. Eovaldi pitched the game of his life.
That was a great game.
And that's...
And, I mean, I think these 2 teams were very evenly matched.
Yeah.
And I think it really came down to who struck first, who delivered that first punch. So I think back on it, a game-changing play for me, it came in the first inning, that 2-run home run by Xander Bogaerts. Early on in that game, Garrett Cole hung a changeup right over the middle of the plate. Xander Bogaerts made him pay for it, and the Red Sox didn't look back after that. I mean, I think it got in Garrett Cole's head, and I think that was the swing that the Red Sox needed to be like, look, we got this.
Yeah, no doubt about it. And I knew the thing that Kike Hernandez said, which I thought was fantastic. He said, they wanted us, they got us. They came into our house and they didn't get it done. So the Red Sox are. I think the Rays win.
Well, I was going to say,
I could almost guarantee that the Rays win
Red
the
Sox.
series.
We'll get to the Red Sox a little later in their series now, but I think their season's about over.
Right.
But that was an impressive thing to build on. Where heading into the playoffs, I think you could make an argument that the Red Sox were the fourth best team in the AL East.
Yeah, and it's on the other side of the field. You have the New York Yankees, to which who the heck knows what's going to happen in New York after that. Yeah. I think I'm torn. A large part of me thinks Boone stays, but there is that part of me that Boone gets canned. There's part of me that I think Cashman goes before Boone. I do.
Yeah. I don't know. I think I really either see both of them going or both of them staying.
Yeah.
I think that's really the only, I don't think one leaves without the other. But obviously if Cashman goes, Boone goes, because the new GM is going to bring in somebody else.
Yeah.
And if Boone goes, I think they also, say, look, Cashman, you've had 6 years to try and build a champion here and you haven't gotten it done.
Right.
I think the big thing, I think they wait till the end of the postseason, see how kind of the dominoes fall. But I think the big thing that they really need is they need an impact bat that isn't just home run or bust. Stanton and Judge had career years, but they can't count on their third best hitter being a 198 Joey Gallo. They can't count on their third best hitter being a 215 Gary Sanchez. They can't count on their third best hitter being a on and off the IL DJ LeMahieu. So what they need to go get is a shortstop because it's a huge offseason of shortstops. You have Corey Seager, Trevor Story, Carlos Correa. I think I'm missing one, but you have a lot of really talented shortstops in the free agency market this year. They need to go get one, and I think the one they're going to target is Trevor Story.
Yeah, and as much as Yankees fans don't like to hear it, Gallo's awful. He is just awful.
Gallo, he gets on base, but he's literally the great value Aaron Judge. He walks, hits home runs, and strikes out a lot. The difference is Judge hits 280, Gallo hits 180.
Yeah. And so you and I both love Christopher Russo.
Oh, of course.
And he went on with Dan Patrick on his show yesterday on Peacock, and talked about Alex Rodriguez and the Sunday and the ESPN baseball broadcast crew.
A-Rod needs so much help.
So here is Russo's take on A-Rod right now.
Will you have A-Rod on your show anytime soon?
Yeah, no. I can't get A-Rod in anyway. Can I ask somebody a question?
Yeah.
It's the top of the ninth inning.
I know.
It's 6-2 Red Sox. All right. 38,000 at Fenway. They beat the hated Yankees. And A-Rod is breaking down Garrett Cole's 2022 side. You got to be serious now. That's not where we want to go with this. And then in 99, he said he'd be better in his sophomore year. A-Rod, he's been on the Yankees for a couple of years. Oh, my God. Listen, I know that is part of your family. And, you got a lot. Listen, you're a Hall of Famer based on that in a lot of ways. That was not a big time broadcast. We got to be fair. You're a broadcaster.
Well, you know what you have to do, Dog, is you have to put a third person in with A-Rod to protect him.
Point.
And I think if he's your main guy, that's not what he does well.
Yeah, there's the segment with Christopher Russo, small short clip of that. Yeah. The whole interview is hilarious, by the way. If you get a chance to go back and watch that. The thing I love, and I've told you this many times, Christopher Russo is insane, but he's hilarious live on air.
Yeah.
And so I just love listening to the guy talk. This is not where I intended this show to go, but a very huge part of me wants Mike and the Mad Dog back so bad.
It'd be so funny.
It would.
It really would.
I don't think it'd be as good as it was.
No, of course not.
But it would be still fantastic.
At least just like some kind of reunion show or something.
Yeah.
I think the entire country would tune in for that.
I would.
Yeah. I catch myself. New York media does it different. After that Yankees-Red Sox game on Tuesday, I was listening to the Michael Kay show in Dayton, Ohio, because I knew that they'd be just talking so much crap about the Yankees.
Yeah.
And New York sports talk does it different. Obviously there's East Coast, West Coast. You decide what you think does it better. But if you are doing sports talk in New York, you've done very well with yourself.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. No kidding.
But this is kind of ball from left field here, but ESPN's going to be looking for a new play-by-play guy for Sunday Night Baseball. Matt Vasgersian's taking the full-time job with the Angels.
Right.
Who would you like to see? I know somebody threw around the name Jason Benetti, who I know you like a lot.
Yeah.
Two guys that I'd really keep my eye out for are Dan Shulman, who is the play-by-play guy of the Blue Jays, but he has done work with ESPN in the past. Really like him. I think he's a solid option. Or Ryan Rucco, who is technically Michael Kay's understudy with New York, the Yankees, but he's done the Brooklyn Nets on Yes. He's done a lot of NYCFC. He's done a lot more baseball as of recent. I think he's really, really good, and he's only 35 years old. I think this could be the shot he gets.
Yeah, it's an interesting question. And I, like you said, I love Benetti. I think Benetti would be perfect for that role, and he's already contracted through ESPN because he does college basketball, so you don't need to worry about that. I threw around the name Joe Davis, but I don't think it'll happen because of his affiliation with Fox.
Right, Joe Davis's contract with Fox might be too hard to kind of work around.
Right, but I think that the best bet for it, if he's interested, is Benetti. I think Benetti would be perfect for that role because I love watching NBC Sports in Chicago.
Yeah.
And it's
be something else that I didn't really think about that'd be cool to bring back.
Who's that?
John Miller with the Giants.
Yeah, it's an interesting question.
He's a little, he's kind of towards the back half of his career. I don't know if he'd want to do it, but I mean, love his voice. And I mean, I think his voice would be perfect on Sunday Night Baseball.
Yeah, and I think that a guest we'll have on in a few weeks is Dave Sims. He's an older guy, and I don't know if he'd be interested in that, but I think he'd be perfect for that role. Another guy that stands out to me is possibly Dave O'Brien with Nesson and in Boston. I don't know if he leaves Boston, but it's a good chance for Davey to get out of Boston.
It's jobs like these that make me wish I was about 5 years older and had been working in minor league baseball for a few years because I'd be applying for it.
Right. Yeah. So it's an interesting question. Whoever gets it, I know is more than qualified. Yeah. But I think it'll be they'll make the right decision.
As long as they don't make A-Rod play-by-play.
Lord knows that's true.
Well, maybe he's better at that than color. I don't know.
Yeah.
Can't be much worse.
No, not at all. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we have Brad Brownell, who is the head basketball coach, men's basketball coach at Clemson University. We talked a lot of different topics, talked changes in basketball, his time here at Wright State as well. So don't go away. Brad Brownell when we come back on The Perspective. And now, another Hoganism with Chris Hogan.
Curious to know how you keep yourself organized. Some people use the old school planner. Some people like to use their phone and technology. Either way, I encourage you to find a way to keep yourself organized. And at the beginning of the semester, the best thing you can do for yourself as a student is to write down the due dates for all of your assignments. Why? That way you never forget what they are and when they're due. Particularly if you use an electronic device, you can set a 15-minute reminder, a day reminder, a week reminder, and you're always looking at your phone, so in theory, you shouldn't miss any assignments.
Watch out! You got me!
The galaxy is safe once again.
In the pretend universe, kids play with pretend guns. In the real world, it's up to us to make sure they don't get their hands on a real gun. If you have a gun in the house, keep it locked, unloaded, and stored separately from ammunition. Safe gun storage saves lives. Learn how to make your home safer at endfamilyfire.org. That's endfamilyfire.org. Brought to you by End Family Fire, Brady, and the Ad Council.
This is how we do every day. We be grinding, and if you wanna come and test us,
if you love them enough to turn off your music and pretend like their music is your music,
this is Mommy's jam.
then surely you'll check nhtsa.gov/the right seat to make sure they're in the right car seat.
Let's play it again.
Check today at nhtsa.gov/the right seat. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Melissa from Michigan. I work an extra part-time job serving lunch at my child's school, but I still can't afford to put food on our table.
Daniel from California. Choosing whether to pay the rent or pay to fix the car to get to work doesn't leave us with much at all. Now we can't even pay for meals.
Hunger is a story we can end. End it at feedingamerica.org. Brought to you by Feeding America and the Ad Council.
Donna from Louisiana. The storm just hit, and we went from donating to the food bank to needing it.
Hunger is a story we can end. End it at feedingamerica.org. Brought to you by Feeding America and the Ad Council.
Hey, Dad, your prescription will be ready in just a minute. Hey, Dad, your laundry will be ready in just a minute. Dad, your lunch will be ready in just a minute.
Hey, honey, why don't you take a minute? When you help care for a loved one, you give them as much time as you can. But it's just as important to take time for yourself. AARP can help. Find free care guides to support you and your loved one at aarp.org/caregiving. That's aarp.org/caregiving. Brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
Dad, I picked up your pills, made your lunch, and your laundry is done.
When you care for a loved one, you take care of everything. But are you taking care of yourself? Find free care guides at aarp.org/caregiving. Brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
To protect his family from disaster, Steve used his camera phone.
Done.
By taking pictures of his important documents, Steve can always have them stored online. Learn more simple disaster prep tips at ready.gov. A message from FEMA and the Ad Council.
Every day, men and women from communities across this nation serve as Reserve Citizen Airmen.
I am proud to defend our nation.
Proud to be part of a team that helps make a difference.
I am proud to be part of something larger than me.
We celebrate those who have served and those who are proudly serving in the Air Force Reserve. Our mission is to fly, fight, and win in air, space, and cyberspace.
I am proud to be a member. I am proud to protect our...
Proud to serve in the U.S. Air Force Reserve.
AFReserve.com.
A social distancing tip.
Putting distance between yourself and others is critical to slowing the spread of coronavirus. So here are ways to stay in contact without the physical contact part. Call, send a text, set up a video conference, post on social media, dedicate a song on the radio. If you have symptoms of fever, dry cough, and shortness of breath, call your healthcare provider before going to their office. For more info, visit coronavirus.gov.
Let's all do our part, because we're all #AloneTogether. Brought to you by the Ad Council.
For those fortunate enough to help the person who has always been their hero, AARP is here to help. Find the care guides you need to help at aarp.org/caregiving. Brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
Hi, my name is Hallie Rains. I am a communications major here at Wright State, and you're listening to WWSU 106.9, Dayton's Right Choice.
Welcome back to The Perspective, everybody, here on WWSU 106.9 FM. Happy Friday to all of you. Hope you're having a great one. So, with that, I'm going to bring on Brad Brownell, who's the head men's basketball coach at Clemson, talking so many different topics, his time at Wright State, as well as changes in basketball and things of that nature. So, without further ado, here's Brad Brownell. Joining us now is Brad Brownell, who's the head men's basketball coach at Clemson and the former Wright State men's basketball head coach. Coach, thank you for your time. How are you today?
Doing great, Parker. Thanks for having me on.
So my first question here today is, what is something that has changed about basketball from when you started coaching up until right now?
Yeah, let's see. I think probably the thing that's changed the most is the game is spaced much more now. Back in the day and until recently, you were playing with two post players under the basket. A lot of high-low offenses, power basketball, big, rugged, physical post players. Now the game is much more spread out. You're seeing a lot of, we kind of evolved to 4-round-1 offenses for a while and still see some of that. But now you're going to the 5-out offenses where all 5 players are outside the 3-point line. More perimeter skill from everybody on the floor, not just the guards, but forwards and centers now who can dribble, pass, and shoot and would rather play away from the basket facing it than with their back to the basket. So, offensively, that's probably the biggest difference is the game has evolved more to more space, pace, little less physical. Back in the 90s, some of the old NBA games you used to see where everybody was knocking each other down and fist fights were breaking out under the basket. So that's probably how the game has changed the most since I've been in coaching.
So you're a former Wright State head coach from 2006 to 2010. Going straight from Wright State to Clemson, what was the biggest sort of learning curve or the biggest like wow moment going straight from the Horizon League to ACC basketball play?
Well, just the level of athleticism of the players, the size of the players. The guys are just bigger and faster. You know, I don't think in terms of skill level, not a lot of difference. In terms of, you know, coaching, still a lot of great coaches that I coached against at the mid-major level. Schemes and things like that weren't anything drastic. Certainly the size of the arenas and the crowds and the you know, the atmosphere of games was bigger more often. But you know, it wasn't a lot of difference in terms of running your program and communicating with your players, installing your offensive and defensive philosophies. All of that is just coaching. You know, there are more responsibilities away from the game here, speaking to booster groups and more media situations that you deal with. So managing your time as a head coach at this level, a little bit more challenging. There's a few more responsibilities and things that go on away from basketball that you have to deal with. But, you know, the basketball itself is still just the game at any level.
What is something that you learned when your time at Wright State that has helped you run your program at Clemson?
Well, I think initially maybe the transition, you know, having been the head coach at UNC Wilmington for 4 years, and then my transition to that job was different in that I was the assistant that got promoted. And so I already knew the league and my family didn't have to move, and I knew the university and was familiar with a lot of things. And so that made it, you know, a little bit easier, which was good, especially because it was my first time becoming a head coach. But then leaving UNC Wilmington and going to Wright State, there's a lot of things that change. Obviously, number one is just your family situation. You have to move and you've got to get your daughters into schools, and your wife's got to find a place to live. And you've just got a lot of new things that you're dealing with. You've got to deal with a new league. You got a brand new team that you didn't recruit the players. You know, there's just a lot of things that you have to get used to. And I think having done that once in my transition from UNC Wilmington to Wright State probably gave me more confidence and made it a little bit smoother in my transition from Wright State to Clemson. You know, as a family, we've been through all that. I'd been through dealing with a new team and new roster, and you know, did a reasonably good job of communicating with the players that were here about expectations and how we're going to establish our culture and all those things. So that's probably was as good of experience for me as any from my Wright State time coming to Clemson.
Looking back on your time at Wright State, what were some of your favorite aspects, whether it's the campus or the athletic department or the basketball program as a whole? What were some of your favorite aspects of Wright State?
Well, the people. I think in any job, you know, you want to be around great people. You want to be around people that you enjoy spending time with. You need alignment in your university. Athletics has to be important. You know, from the president, board of trustees, athletic administration, your AD. If you feel like you have good alignment, communication, if you enjoy the people you're around, that gives you a chance to be successful. And the people at Wright State were great administratively. Mike Cusack, Bob Grant, folks that I got to work with that recruited me there, hired me, and both of them were the AD when I was the coach, and I had wonderful experiences with them. They were always trying to make the program better, and we were always trying to put our heads together and think of ways to improve. And the players that I coached were great, coached a lot of great players. We had some tremendous success, but they were fun to be around, very coachable, hardworking guys. And so the people always make the job. And then the fan base was outstanding. We had an incredible environment there at the Nutter Center. People in the city of Dayton are extremely passionate about basketball. Basketball is important there. So man, it was just a fun place to coach. we had met some great friends and families that we still keep in contact with today from our time living in Beaver Creek. So really the people above everything was what was special about my time at Wright State. We couldn't have had a better 4 years than the time we had there.
When you first came up in coaching, did you have someone that was sort of a mentor to you that kind of helped you get your start?
Yeah, I mean, my first mentor is my father. My dad was a high school teacher and coach, and just a man that I had a great relationship with and spent a lot of time with and talked to and talked about coaching, when I was playing and watched him work and just got to be around him, wanted to be around him. So when I was 5 years old, I would follow him to the gym and try to be in as many camps and clinics and go scouting with him and just learn about the game and learn about coaching. So my dad, first off, and then my college coach, Royce Waltman. I played at DePaul University, kind of a neat Division III school over in Greencastle, Indiana, that had a wonderful experience there. And Coach Waltman was a terrific coach, taught me a lot about the game and also about coaching, and someone that I kept in contact with, until he passed recently, and was always someone that I could get advice from, and I think really molded me and helped me, see some different things and think about new ways of doing things, and was always someone that I could, kind of give a call if I had a question. But I've worked for some really good people. Jim Cruz, I was a grad assistant for him at the University of Evansville, and he was a great coach and learned a lot in my experience there, first time being at the Division I level. And then Jerry Wainwright, who I worked for 8 years at UNC Wilmington, outstanding coach, great leader of men, taught me a lot about running a program, and that was a great life experience for me. So I've been blessed to try to learn from a lot of different folks, and that's one of the reasons why I've been able to be successful in this business and be a head coach for what is now my 20th years. I was mentored properly and had a lot of people supporting me along the way.
So for those young coaches out there, maybe in high school, maybe at the lower college level, assistants, things like that, what is some piece of advice that you would give to them for when they do get that first head job?
Love of learning. You've never arrived. You've got to want to continue to improve in your craft. The game changes. I think that's critical. In terms of basketball, keep looking for answers, keep looking for better ways to do things. Certainly you have to have a core belief in how you want to play and what you believe in and what your values are for your program. You can see some of them behind me here with what we talk about, our culture of commitment at Clemson. But there's got to be a true passion for learning, and you've got to work to build as many relationships with quality people as you can along the way. I think those are some things that have really helped me.
So last question for you, Coach. Really can't thank you enough for your time. Brad Brownell here on The Perspective. What have been some of your favorite moments from over the years with your coach in your coaching career? And I know this is a tough question, and I've asked a lot of the people that I've had on, but what have been some of your favorite moments from your time in coaching?
Well, this is actually an easy question for me. I've had a lot of great moments. Winning the Horizon League championship in the Nutter Center, beating Butler in front of 10 or 11,000. I don't know what it holds, but it hold every bit of that and then some that night. To go to the NCAA tournament was a huge moment, and one that I think about and relive and enjoyed as much as any. I've had some great moments. Anytime you take your team, a couple times we won the CAA championship in Richmond with UNC Wilmington to go to the NCAA tournament. Those are big moments. Here at Clemson, we've done some great things. We won a gold medal in the World University Games. And so taking a team overseas and competing against other countries and winning a gold medal in the summer of 2019, that was an awesome experience. Obviously ending the streak in Chapel Hill and beating North Carolina there was a fun day and one I'll remember for a long time. And then anytime you win games in the NCAA tournament, those are big time, big time days and experiences. So I've been lucky. I've had a lot of wonderful experiences and memories in this game.
Well, Coach, I can't thank you enough for your time. I know you're a busy, man, so I really appreciate it. Thank you.
Glad to be on with you, Parker.
That was Brad Brownell right here on The Perspective. Again, really appreciate the time and really appreciate the willingness to work with me from Clemson Athletics. So, again, I can't thank Ben Winterode enough for his help as well as the time of Coach Brownell. So, with that, quick break. More baseball talk when we come back on The Perspective. And now, another Hoganism with Chris Hogan.
Try to get involved, whether it's with a student organization, a club, or with WWSU's radio station.
Absolutely.
And there's many opportunities to do so, but the benefits include you get to network, so you're going to meet people with common interests, and 5 to 10 years from now, you just never know who might be that person that's a pillar in the community or able to help you take advantage of a job opportunity. That's one of the many reasons why you want to get involved.
Tom has been a teacher for over 40 years. One day, I think one of the students had asked the question and he didn't remember the answer. And I also noticed that he was letting his class out earlier than they were supposed to let out. I was really starting to worry.
Levi and I talked about how it would change our lives, but he was there beside me.
When something feels different, it could be Alzheimer's. Now is the time to talk. Visit alz.org/ourstories to learn more. A message from the Alzheimer's Association and the Ad Council.
They say singing can help you remember things, so here's some tips for parents out there during these tough times.
Number 1.
Make sure your kids wash their hands for 20 seconds after they've coughed or sneezed or been outside.
2.
Virtual play dates. Social and physical distancing can help save lives.
3.
Tell them they're safe and show your love and pride. Yes, we'll get through this together. Find out more at coronavirus.gov. A message from the CDC and the Ad Council.
If you love them enough to barely sleep, then surely you'll check nhtsa.gov/the-right-seat to make sure they're in the right car seat. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
To protect her home and family in a disaster, Karen was willing to wade through water, mud, and insurance paperwork.
Yeah, I can do this.
You go, Karen! By simply understanding and updating what her insurance covers and doesn't cover now, she'll be better prepared no matter when disaster strikes. Learn other simple ways to protect your home and family before a natural disaster at ready.gov. That's ready.gov. A message from FEMA and the Ad Council.
America, your children have an amazing superpower. They can help save lives by not having play dates. That's right. By replacing get-togethers with virtual play dates and video chats, they can help slow the evil spread of germs. And if your superheroes do go outside, make sure they continue their superhero wing by staying 6 feet away from others to protect everyone in America land. Find out more at coronavirus.gov. A message from the CDC and the Ad Council.
The average time a resume spends on an HR manager's desk is 7 seconds, and most of them are tossed aside. Now imagine if one of those resumes belonged to Yasmin, who was
living in a shelter, juggling 3 jobs. I had to be resilient. That's something that you can't teach.
We rely so much on a resume, yet it could never tell the full story of someone who
had to be independent and take initiative. And that's how I handle every project I get.
Discover new ways to develop great talent at gradsoflife.org. Brought to you by Grads of Life and the Ad Council.
My mother was very familiar with her neighborhood, but one day she stopped at the stop sign and she wasn't even really sure where she was at.
When something feels different, it could be Alzheimer's. Now is the time to talk. A message from the Alzheimer's Association and the Ad Council.
How do airplanes fly? What's in this box? What does this thing do?
Kids are curious about everything, including guns. Learn how to store your gun securely and make your home safer at endfamilyfire.org. Brought to you by End Family Fire, Brady, and the Ad Council.
If you love them enough to listen to them practice the same song on tuba,
please be done.
Over and over and over and over and over, then surely you'll check nhtsa.gov/the-right-seat to make sure they're correctly buckled in the back seat.
Sounds good, honey.
Check today at nhtsa.gov/the-right-seat. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Not completing high school is more of a social thing than it was an academic thing. Even though all these years have passed, I still had that longing to have my diploma.
At age 30, Carissa finished her high school diploma.
If you're even considering getting your high school diploma, you can do it.
No one gets a diploma alone. If you're thinking of finishing your high school diploma, you have help. Find free adult education classes near you at finishyourdiploma.org. That's finishyourdiploma.org. Brought to you by the Dollar General Literacy Foundation and the Ad Council.
If you love them enough to sit through their favorite boy band with them, then surely you'll check nhtsa.gov/the right seat to make sure they're correctly buckled in the back seat. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Every day, men and women from communities across this nation serve as Reserve Citizen Airmen.
I am proud to defend our nation.
Proud to be part of a team that helps make a difference.
I am proud to be part of something larger than me and to serve my country.
We celebrate those who have served and those who are proudly serving in the Air Force Reserve. Our mission is to fly, fight, and win in air, space, and cyberspace.
I am proud to be a member. I am proud to protect our...
Proud to serve in the U.S. Air Force Reserve.
This is Nathan, English major, and you're listening to WWSU 106.9 FM, Dayton's Right Choice.
Welcome back to The Perspective, everybody, right here on WWSU 106.9 FM. We have Shay Neal back on the show here for you. This final segment, take your glasses off there, buddy.
I don't want the glare coming up on YouTube. And I'm also trying to experiment with different looks. I know that's the most self-centered thing that you'll probably ever hear, but we're just experimenting. That's what college is all about.
Yeah, why not? So for this last segment here, we're going to talk about the Division Series. I don't know.
Whatever.
Division Series.
Grammar is not my forte.
No, it should be since we're in radio, but whatever.
I'm a sports guy, so Matt is my forte.
Right. But and I can't believe we didn't talk about this in the opening segment. We completely missed Dodgers Cards the other night. And I'm so happy that they won. I really am.
Cardinals and Yankees lost on consecutive days. It felt like Christmas morning, 2 days in a row for me.
Well, and that's the thing. I watched that whole game, and I realized why I don't sit down and watch all 9 innings of a baseball game.
It's stressful.
It's stressful, but you can't. I mean, I don't have time. I would while I'm like doing homework and stuff, but if I want to do homework, I get distracted and just watch the game. Right. But
I'm with you. That's me on a nightly basis.
Yeah.
Trying to do homework and watch sports at the same time and watching sports.
Right. Yeah. And I don't. I can't do it for on time and time again. But one thing that we're gonna say here is what a night from both pitchers.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Scherzer got rocked more than I thought he would.
Didn't have elite command. Yeah.
He didn't have the greatest command. He threw a lot of pitches. Yeah. He had like 65 pitches in the fourth or something like that. Wainwright looked great. He really did.
Waino's had a heck of a year.
He has, and it's been really fun to watch what he's done. It really has, and I'm really enjoyed watching what he's been doing. So, yeah, and I'm eternally grateful for Chris Taylor,
CT3,
and he's a legendary individual.
Love it.
So yeah, I don't. This Dodgers Giants series is interesting. It really is. Mm-hmm. And I thought it would get to this point, and I thought the Giants would win it, and I still think the Giants will win it.
Yeah.
It's tough.
It's going to go 5.
Yeah, it'll definitely go 5.
I think the Dodgers win tonight, if I'm being real.
I do too. I think that
Logan Webb's had a heck of a year, but I just don't see Walker Buehler losing.
No, and here's my take on this series. I think the way that if the Dodgers win this series, I think they win it with their experience, their postseason experience, where they've been here before, and things like that. But on the other side of the field, you have the Giants, where they haven't been in the playoffs in 5 or 6 years.
If the Giants win it, it's because Kapler outmanaged Dave Roberts.
Yes, and which is very, very possible. And I think if the Giants win it, Gabe Kapler gets tons of credit. Dave Roberts.
Kapler already should get tons of credit. He should be the unanimous manager of the year.
Yeah, Dave Roberts gets killed by the media, as he should. And one thing that I want to touch on here real quickly is the playoff format. What is your take on the playoff format?
Like, should wild card be best of 3? Or I'm fine with it the way it is, to be honest with you. I know that
should it be based on record?
That, yeah, I should say. I mean, I understand the motive and the incentive put in to win your division. I get that.
Yeah.
But in no world should the Braves have gotten out of the wild card game and the Dodgers didn't. Like, if we're ranking the teams in the playoffs or the teams in the National League based on talent or based on just how good they are, Giants, Dodgers, Brewers, Braves, Cardinals. But I mean, so I see both sides of it. Like, I think winning your division should bring a reward to it. And I'm not 100% just upset with how it is right now. But years like this, there have been years where really, really good teams get knocked in the wild card game, and there was a solid chance that a 106-win Dodger team went home in one game. But I think that Giants-Dodgers should have been the NLCS. I feel like having it in the NLDS is still really cool, but I feel like it's not the movie ending that we all wanted. I think the Brewers get through the Braves, and we can talk about that in a few minutes. But I think Brewers-Dodgers or Brewers-Giants will still be one heck of a series. But let's be real. The two best teams in the National League are the Dodgers and the Giants, and I think that they should be able to fight for the pennant.
Yeah, I think that's very fair. And this, so here's my thoughts on this. In no world should the defending champions who won 106 games be in a wild card game.
Fair.
And that's not me being biased. I think anybody in the league.
It's just the weirdest circumstance I think I've seen in my lifetime, where it's like the defending champs won 106 games and are playing one game to save their season because their arch rivals, who nobody really thought would be above 500, won 107.
Yeah, and you fall one game short.
The Giants were great all year. I mean, no disrespect to the Giants. The Giants were so good all year from April to September.
And one thing about this wild card game on Wednesday night. It's big players come through in big moments. Cody Bellinger does nothing all year long, and comes out, gets on base 3 times,
steals 2 bases.
Yeah, so
even if he's not hitting home runs or doubles, I mean, Cody Bellinger had a huge impact in that wild card game.
Yeah, and he's the winning run there. So that's my take on it.
And I mean, we'll get into the Rays here in just a second.
Yeah,
but maybe the best player right now in all of baseball when it comes to October, Randy Arozarena.
Absolutely.
Dude unlocks a freaking monster level in the playoffs.
Good Lord.
He stole home last night. He stole home. He looked like Jackie Robinson coming down the line.
The guy is so good.
He's really good in the regular season, but he turns into Babe Ruth in the playoffs.
Oh, man. I don't know how he's that good. I really don't. I don't get it.
And he hit an absolute tank, too. That's his 11th home run, by the way, in 21 career playoff games, 4 of which should not count because he had 2 at-bats in 4 games with the Cardinals.
Yeah.
So if you're counting it at home, that's 11 home runs in 17 playoff games with the Rays. That's stupid. Stop it.
And we talked about Chris Russo earlier on this show. And on Dan Patrick, and that in that interview, they said something just like, and I completely agree with it. The Giants are the Tampa Bay Rays of the West Coast, or of the NL, where you don't know if they're going to be good, and then they come out and they win 100 games. So that's my take on it. So if I had to pick a winner in this series, I think Giants win it in 5, but it's going to be close.
Yeah, it is. I'd really have to wait to make a decision until I see the Game 5 pitching matchup. I think the way that it's set up right now, or what they're going to try to do, is Buehler Game 1, Urias Game 2, Scherzer Game 3, Buehler Game 4, and then all hands on deck for a Game 5.
Yeah.
But the Giants are going with Logan Webb tonight, which makes me think they might be doing Gausman Game 2 and DeSclafani Game 3, maybe Cueto. I don't know.
Gabe Kapler knows more than we do.
Oh, he does.
So
and the Giants pitchers aren't as sexy as the Dodgers pitchers in terms of names or stats.
Yeah.
But the Giants pitchers have been getting it done all year long.
Absolutely.
So,
Yeah.
I mean, Logan Webb's had one heck of a year. And I mean, yes, almost any casual baseball fan, almost any baseball fan, myself included, looks at the matchup tonight and goes, oh, I like Buehler.
Yeah.
Because Bueller's the big name, but Logan Webb's pitched his butt off since May. So, I mean, I would not be surprised at all if this was a pitching duel.
Yeah, no doubt about it. So last night kicked off the ALDS sides of the bracket.
How good did Houston look?
Houston looked fantastic.
Chicago's pounced on them early today. They lead 1-0 on an RBI single by Jose Abreu.
Well, update on that. We're tied 1-1.
Oh, my bad.
Bottom of the second.
Yeah.
But yeah, the Astros looked really, really good. They did. And I picked the White Sox to go to the conference series.
I had too. I think I said White Sox in 5. I can't remember.
So I think the White Sox were, if they got to get back in it. They got to win today.
They do.
If they want to get
especially
back in
with Giolito on the mound, because I mean it's Giolito versus Framber Valdez, and I know Giolito didn't have the best year of his career this year, but he's definitely, I think, a better pitcher than Framber Valdez. So he's got to win today because now they've already used Lance Lynn. They've already used Giolito. Rodon is supposed to pitch Game 3, but Rodon's dealing with a shoulder issue, so you don't know how long he's going to be able to go. So maybe we see Dylan Cease. Maybe we see a guy like a Reynaldo Lopez. But these are your two big horses if you're Tony La Russa. You got to find a way to win one of them.
Yeah, absolutely. So. And the duel of the old as hell managers in this series, and Dusty Baker.
And they're both great,
and
too.
Tony La Russa, both are fantastic. But on the other side, you got two young, hot, really awesome managers in this series in Kevin Cash and Alex Cora.
Yeah, you do. And, I mean, one last thing I want to throw out about the White Sox, though. But if this game stays close, which I think it does, the White Sox have a secret weapon on the bench in Billy Hamilton.
Right, yeah.
Put him in on a base hit in the 8th, watch him steal second, watch him steal third. A fly ball gives the White Sox the win, potentially. So that's a big weapon. Billy can't hit for crap, and I say that as a Reds fan. He cannot hit the baseball. He could not hit water if he fell out of a boat. But that boy can fly.
Yeah, no kidding. Yeah,
and he's one heck of a defender too. They could put him in as a late game defensive center fielder.
Right. So this is what we'll we'll wrap up on the
Rays Red
Sox here quickly. Rays win 5-0 last night.
Good. If you like good pitching matchups with great stuff, tonight's a night to watch.
Yeah.
Sale versus Boz.
Absolutely. Yeah. So great pitching matchups today. Great pitching matchups.
Mm-hmm.
You have Red Sox Rays, Sale versus Boz, Dodgers Giants, Bueller versus Webb. Giolito's pitching right now. Who started for Houston? Do you know?
Framber Valdez.
Okay.
Who's not great. He's probably the least notable name on this list. Maybe Boz, but he's pretty solid too. Very crafty lefty.
And then you have Charlie Morton, Corbin Burns.
That's my favorite one of the day.
It is. Yeah.
Playoff Charlie Morton is disgusting. And I believe, did he win World Series MVP? No, that was Springer. But he did get the final four innings of Game 7 of the World Series in 2017.
Absolutely.
And then Corbin Burns is probably going to win Cy Young.
Yeah.
And so I'm very excited for that one. We're calling a volleyball game at 6. Just to warn you in advance, I will probably have Braves Brewers on my laptop while we call that.
Yeah. All right. So real quickly, predictions for division series.
Okay.
We only have time for one, so let's do White Sox Astros.
Okay.
Who do you got?
Really quick, I'm going to stick with my prediction. I said White Sox in 5. I think the White Sox find a way to do it. And really quickly, just to do the other ones, just knock them out really quick. Rays in 4 over the Red Sox. I've got the Brewers in 4 over the Braves, and I've got the Dodgers in 5 over the Giants.
Wow. Okay. Yeah, so I have Giants in 5 over the Dodgers, White Sox in 5 over the Astros, Brewers in 3. I think Brewers sweep. And I'll take the Rays over the Red Sox in 4. So, Shay, thanks for your time.
Absolutely, man. Thanks for having me on.
So this was The Perspective this week, everybody. We got the hot spot with Dylan Collison and Evander Willie coming up next. So with that, Raider up. We'll see you all at 5:45.